you will stay with us, we move on to our next story. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi described the ongoing nuclear talks with the United States as complicated, but expressed hope for progress. After the fifth round of talks in Rome, Araqchi called the discussions the most professional so far. He emphasized that while challenges remain, the negotiations are moving in a reasonable direction. Here's what the Iranian Foreign Minister has said.
ادوار مذاکراتی بود که تا الان داشتیم و خب ما یک بار دیگه مواضع و اصول جمهوری اسلامی رو در خصوص مذاکرات بیان کردیم. مواضع ما کاملا روشن هست و ما بر اونها ایستادگی داریم. فکر می‌کنم الان یک درک بهتری و روشنتری از مواضع ما در نزد طرف آمریکایی وجود داره.
While Iran was calling these talks complicated, on the other hand, a senior U.S. official also described the talks as constructive and noted that both sides agreed to meet again soon. Despite the progress, significant hurdles still exist, including Iran's uranium enrichment and demands for sanctions relief. The talks, mediated by Oman, aim to resolve a decades-long dispute over Iran's nuclear program. Araqchi reiterated Iran's stance on its right to enrich uranium, while the U.S. pushes for limits. Both sides are now reviewing proposals and preparing for the next round of discussions. The location for the next round of talks will be confirmed soon. Now we have guest Martin Sa-Erais, international affairs expert, joining us from Quito, Ecuador. Thank you for staying with us, Martin. Why are the nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran being described as very complicated?
Because it touches very sensitive and very personal interests of both countries, and also because we're in a timing that a conflict can take place. Israel, in one side, may attack Iran because it is a threat for Israel, and the nuclear program is very close to be finished. They are very close to enrich their uranium and get the atomic bomb. So I think for Iran has a very short period of time to either go into a war with the West or to have these kind of deals that may help both parties to avoid a big war and also to relieve the Iranian economy, which is being hurt by the US sanctions. So we are approaching a very important period of time.
And as you just mentioned that Iran does not have much time left, what are the main sticking points preventing a new agreement between Iran and the US?
I think the guarantees. Iran insists on legal guarantees that the US won't exit the agreement again in the future. Also, the sanctions relief and the verification measures. The US wants full access and permanent dismantling of Iran's advanced centrifuges. So those are very important points that are going to be taken in consideration.
And Martin, according to you, how has President Trump's revived maximum pressure strategy impacted these negotiations?
I think Donald Trump's strategy has affected these negotiations in the sense that he wants to absolutely change the last deal to have more guarantees that Iran won't be using it for a bellic purpose, which is very likely to be used, but the US wants to be very sure that Iran won't be using this for the bad purposes. And both parties, they want to have guarantees of their own interests. In one side, Iran wants to have the guarantee that the US will stop blocking the Iranian economy, and the others, in the other hand, Trump wants to be sure Iran is not going to be using this project to attack Israel or the West.
And Martin, building on the point you've mentioned earlier in the first answer, what could be the consequences of the US if the US insists on zero uranium enrichment by Iran?
The consequences can be that Iran will be doing this project regardless of a deal or not, that Iran will be completely irrelevant to diplomacy with the West or diplomacy with the US, and it can lead to a bigger conflict, to a direct confrontation between the US, Israel against Iran, the beginning of a huge war. So that's what we're talking right now about, like losing diplomacy, losing strategies to avoid a bigger conflict.
And how might Israel's position and involvement influence the outcome of these talks?
I think Israel is very critical on these talks. Israel is not gonna be agreeing with the U.S. having any kind of deal with Iran. I think Israel sees any type of approach from Trump to Iran as a betrayal, as not aligned with its interests. So I think the more Trump is gonna be approaching Iran for a deal, Israel will try to completely destroy all of the enrichment programs and try to avoid the capacity of Iran to have a nuclear bomb.
And to sum up our discussion, what role are European countries and Oman playing in trying to keep diplomacy alive between them?
I think Europe has a soft power on this issue. I don't think Europe has a big influence. I think the most important actors are the US and Israel, but however, the European countries can have a diplomatic symbol or a diplomatic weight to this issue. So this is more symbolic than having like a huge impact in a geopolitical way.
Thank you so much, Martin Sai Wright, for your insight and joining us today. We move on now to our next story.